Yeah. You read the title. You know what you're doing here, and it's all true. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Johnny fucking Moxley. And today, we're actually going to be talking about how I lost my virginity.
What?
Johnny, aren't you a wrestling channel? Yes, I am. And I'm going to try to make as many wrestling references as I can to make this funnier than it actually is. But believe me when I say the way that I lost my virginity was so unconventional, so out there, so insane that I feel like it's worth telling and people will actually enjoy the story. I really do think you're going to. I feel like nearly every single, oh, I lost my virginity video on YouTube is just, oh, when I was like 17, my girlfriend and I went into like her basement. We like did it real quick before her dad came home and it was kind of garbage. It wasn't memorable and shit. I feel like they're all kind of along those same lines. Very cookie cutter, kind of all the same thing. They're all along those same lines, but I promise you mine is nothing like that. I swear to you, if my story wasn't good, I wouldn't tell it. But with that being said, let us go back to where it all began. So before I even explain what happened or how we got there, I feel like I need to give you context of where I was in my life. Because it's very crucial to this entire story. I feel like if I was not in this place in life, this wouldn't have even happened. So I'm going to be honest with you. All right, I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be frank with you all. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 23 years old. And for a lot of people, I think that's considered a little late in life. Now, I want to preface this by saying there's nothing wrong with being a virgin at that age. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin at any age. It's really more of an internal thing. You're going to learn that as you get older. Like, it's more of a thing that you beat yourself up about. Other people don't really give a shit. But regardless, as we all know, that's easier said than done to not care about it. I definitely was totally not feeling good about being a 23-year-old virgin. I'm nothing like I am on here. Like, in real life, I'm kind of introverted. I don't put myself out there a whole lot. It's just kind of who I am. I mean, I'm a goof. We all know that. I'm a total clown, but I feel like you got to be in the VIP section to actually see that side of me. You feel me? Like, I'm not just gonna show that to anybody. I feel like you got to be close to me. Or if you're on here, you see it. I wouldn't say that I'm like ugly, but I'm not a good looking guy. I mean, I'm a pudge monster. You feel me? Like I'm no Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm not Bastion Booger, but I'm not Shawn Michaels either. All right. And I guess the time just kind of slipped away from me. I found myself sitting here as a 23-year-old virgin being like, God damn, I feel like a piece of shit because I've never experienced this before. And I'm not like an awkward guy. Like I can hold a conversation pretty well with just about anybody, male or female. It doesn't matter. But anytime that I talk to girls, I had this voice in the back of my head. I hear your voices. Yeah, cute Randy Orton joke. I just had this voice in the back of my head where it's like, she knows you're a virgin, dude. Like I would beat myself up about it. And I felt like I couldn't act normal. Even though I appeared to be normal on the outside, I didn't feel like it. And it was becoming a legitimate problem for me. Like I would objectify women without even trying. Like it was a completely unintentional thing. I would see a mildly attractive girl walk by and all I could think about was like, damn, wonder what it's like to have sex with her. Like, fuck, like I'm not trying to do this. It just would happen. The horniness levels were off the charts. Like it was actually insane. And I feel like the longer and longer you put off losing your virginity, the worse it fucking gets. Because now it's starting to become the forbidden fruit. Like sex when you're growing up like in middle school or even high school, sometimes it's like this ancient myth. Like, yeah, everybody talks about it, but who's actually fucking doing it? You know what I'm saying? But when you're 23, dude, this is like a normal thing now. You're seeing a lot of your peers start to partner up. They have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and obviously they're having sex and you start to feel more and more like a piece of shit. Like, Jesus Christ, I've never even had sex before. What am I missing out on? You know, the pressure to lose your virginity only goes up the older you get. I hate to admit that, but it only gets worse. Maybe not from your peers, but from yourself. Like I said, this is a very much a self-doubt type of thing. You beat yourself up over this stuff more than anybody else actually would. But it doesn't fucking matter. You feel like a loser. And as much as I wanted to lose my virginity in a conventional way, it just got to the point where I'm like, dude, honestly, I just got to get this over with now. It's seriously stifling my self-confidence, and it was hindering me from taking action to actually go get girls. Fuck, I know I shouldn't think this way, but in my mind, all I could think about is what fucking girl would want me? They want chads. They want guys that know what they're doing. They want guys that are confident. What girl would actually want some loser like me that's never had sex at 23 years old before? I was pretty down bad, and I was just beating myself up about it, and it's all I could think about was, man, I should be having sex right now, but I'm not. What the fuck is wrong with me? Oh, and believe me, it wasn't wasn't just a, I'm 23, I should be having sex kind of thing. No, man, I wanted pussy, bro. Okay? I was more than ready to put my willy to good use, all right? I had been ready for quite a long time at that point. But for whatever reason, I just never took action. I essentially became the human form of an old car that couldn't turn on, and he needs jumper cables to get the car going again. Once the car is up and running, it's good. It'll start running all over the place, but it will not run until you jump it with the cables. And it got to the point where I figured, maybe I need some jumper cables in my life, bro. Maybe I just need a jump start. Maybe once I have this jump start, it'll get me into the game. So I started doing homework. I started doing my research, and I started looking up how to jump start your sexual life, if you pick up what I'm putting down here. And when I tell you, I found a really, really nice, tall, Brazilian pair of jumper cables. I'm not lying. And honestly, at first, it was kind of a joke. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not actually going to do this. I'm not actually going to pay for this shit. No, I'm going to do it the real way. I was just down bad. I was horny. My penis was flaccid and unused. I was thinking with my dick. I wasn't actually going to do it. And this is when I started reading Reddit posts. Guys who are in their early 20s and talking about losing their virginities to escorts. And in case you're like me, who didn't know what an escort was, it's basically just a fancy word for hooker. Now, if you ask escorts, they will tell you, no, we are not prostitutes. Escorts, you pay them for their time. Prostitutes/hookers, you pay them for their services. Basically, with an escort, you pay them for their time that they spend with you. And on the website, it will tell you how much it is for how long. And whatever happens within that time is considered consensual acts between two adults. And some of these Reddit posts were surprisingly fascinating. Like, I did not get the answer that I thought I was going to get. I was expecting it to be a ton of guys like me who were down bad and just lost their virginity by paying for it and saying, don't do it, it's the worst decision I've ever made in my life, I wish I waited, it was terrible, bad idea, don't do it, avoid. But what I found was actually just the opposite. A lot of these guys said that after visiting escorts, it legitimately changed their lives and for the better. And my jaw was just on the floor. I'm like, this was not what I expected at all. I was expecting it to be just a bunch of guys in regret being like, I can't believe I stooped this low. I can't believe I fucking did it. Instead, I find guys saying that they have girlfriends now, and this one experience with an escort gave them the confidence to get out there and start actually talking to girls, and a lot of them ended up successful. I was making a joke earlier about the jumper cables, but it actually seems pretty legit. A lot of these guys just have zero confidence. They don't have what it takes to go out there and just start talking to girls. And then they get a little taste of what it's like. They get thrown a bone, and it changes their life. And although I couldn't completely resonate with all of that, like I said, I'm kind of a confident guy. I'm not that awkward, but for whatever reason, it was just, I couldn't get myself out there. I couldn't get myself to start taking action. So I could painfully relate. Like I said, every time I talked to a girl, all I could think about what it was like to have sex with her. It was like taking up my entire headspace, and I just needed to get it over with. So I came to the odd realization that maybe this is one of those things where I shouldn't knock it until I try it. It's still crazy. It's still insane, and I wasn't convinced that I was actually going to go through with it, but you know, I had a new perspective on all this. So this is where it starts to get interesting. This is around the time I started to legitimately start to surf, and I started looking for an escort. I'm not going to tell you which website I found this girl on. I mean, she was on a couple of them, but there's a couple of pretty trustworthy escort sites that I found her on that I am not going to name. And oh my God, she was so hot. Dude, she's tall, she's Brazilian. She kind of looks like, at least from the picture, she kind of looked like a Brazilian version of Margot Robbie. To say I was pitching a tent down low would be an understatement. Okay? And I had my eye on this girl for a few weeks now until it happened. And what is it? Oh, this is where it gets interesting. One faithful night came by as the boys and I were playing Uno on Discord, as we always do. And it was just a regular old night in our group, nothing out of the ordinary. We were just playing our Uno, and I decided to drop the bomb on them. Keep in mind, this escort nonsense was very much just me. I didn't tell anybody about this. It was kind of my internal down bad thoughts coming to fruition. But I gathered them all in my personal channel of the Discord server and said, fellas, I've got an announcement to make. I'm gay. No, honestly, that probably would have been easier to explain. I showed them the pictures, and I said, yo, I'm eyeballing this Escort, man. And it was ironic coming from me because a few months before this, in the Discord chat, we were actually talking about losing our virginities because it wasn't just me. A whole handful of us were virgins. And I was the one that said paying for it would kind of be bullshit. You're cheating if you do that. It's not really going to fix anything, I don't think. Oh, how the tables have turned. Seriously, I did a complete 180 within the span of like 3 months, if that. Those Reddit posts were convincing, man. But the reactions I got from the boys was not what I was expecting either. Most of them were actually pretty supportive, and we were kind of joking about it like, damn, we're this down bad, huh? But I'll be honest, I don't think any of them thought I was completely serious. I think, obviously, like, we all knew that we were a bunch of down bad bros, but like, come on now. I don't think they actually thought I was gonna do it. But there was one friend in the group chat who I actually met on Google Plus years ago. You know, back when Google Plus was a thing, throwback. And he only lives about an hour away from me, and we've actually met at an AW show before. But that was it. That was the only time we've ever actually met in person. But we're tight. All 8 of us, or whatever it is in that group chat, we all talk every day. But this friend of mine, who I'm going to refer to in this video as Xavier Woods, sent the Indiana Jones scratching his chin meme and said, And I was like, what? What? This dude replies with the world's greatest tag team gif, and I start bawling laughing. Everybody in the chat just starts cracking the hell up, and we're like, oh my god, this could actually happen. This proceeded to have one of the funniest conversations we have ever had in the history of our group chat. We were cracking Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods jokes. We were cracking Vince McMahon and Johnny Ace jokes. Let me pay for this blowjob with company money, and then I'll send you on to Johnny Ace. Hello there, sweetheart. As the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, allow me to give you a taste of penis power. Literally nothing I could say right now could do that conversation that we had in the moment justice. It was so fucking funny. I don't think I've ever laughed harder in my life. I swear to God. The more and more we joked about it, the more people in the chat were like, this needs to happen. Even my gay friend popped in the chat and was like, y'all are crazy. And Xavier Woods was all like, you should join us, man. We could shield triple powerbomb this bitch together. And my gay friend was all like, y'all know that I'm fruity, right? And we were all under the impression that he's pretty much bisexual until he went on to say, oh, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, y'all know that I'm a raging right? At this point, it hurt. We're literally all on the floor dying of laughter. It hurt so bad. This was a moment. This right here, even if it didn't lead to anything, this whole conversation was just fucking gold. I swear to God, I'll never forget it as long as I live. But the thing is, it actually did lead to shit, though. Xavier Woods and I were in this chat for the next week, basically planning out our attack like 2 mad scientists while the rest of the group chat cheered us on. I'm like, surely something must go wrong. Something has to give, because we were planning this out, and we were coming up with such specific details of how we were going to pull this off. It was coming together too perfectly. We both still live at home, and neither of us wanted to explain where we were going, obviously, so we had to do this at a specific time. We planned out a specific day where we knew we were going to be able to do this shit gangbusters style and not get caught. The night before, I was going to go get an oil change and go get gas, and then the morning of, I'll hit the ATM, and so will he. I'll go pick him up, and when she drops the Addy, we go. All while flying under the radar. And that's why this whole plan was anxiety-inducing. It's why it was such a huge risk. This shit is illegal, and if you get caught doing this, you're fucked. At least where I live. If you're like me and you live in America, you'll be in deep shit if you do this. Except for Nevada. For whatever reason, prostitution is actually legal in Nevada, so if you live there, I guess you're chilling. But if you live in any of the other 49 states, I've got some bad news for you. Shit's illegal. Which is why if you're gonna do this, you have to be careful. And the idea of getting caught scared the shit out of us. Which is why all of us in the chat were doing some armchair detective work on this girl. If you're gonna visit an escort, man, you need to do your homework. You gotta make sure she's legit and not a scam. We were watching YouTube videos, reading reviews on Reddit. We were doing anything we could to educate ourselves on how to trust an escort. But the 2 most telltale signs that an escort is legit is if they have reviews and if they are verified on the site that you found them. And this girl had both of those things. But it didn't matter. We were both scared out of our minds. We've never done this before. We've never even had sex before. But we're going to meet a fucking prostitute, and we don't even know if it's a prostitute. It could be a setup. It could be cops. It could be a robbery. Who fucking knows? Not us. Oh, God, it was so terrifying. What the fuck are we doing? We must have said that at least 50 times in the chat. What was he cooking? Nah, what are we cooking? I swear, man, if you met either Xavier Woods or I in real life, we're not the type of guys you would expect to do this, which is why we couldn't stop thinking about what would happen if we actually got caught. What if we went to jail and everybody found out? Neither of us were that guy that you knew was going to go to fucking jail after high school, was going nowhere in life. So if we were to take an L on this, it would be a catastrophic L. Everyone, when they found out, would probably be like, holy shit, that guy? God damn, what happened? So our entire reputations were at stake here. We could lose everything, but that somehow didn't stop us. I think it was the fact that it was high risk, high reward. If we actually went through with this and it was legit, we'd be able to tell this story for the rest of our goddamn lives. Even our friends in the group chat were like, we are witnessing history right now. Two dudes who met on Google fucking Plus going to tag team a bitch, Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods style, and they lose their virginity together. Could be a world first. And I want to preface this real quick. When I say tag teaming, I mean back-to-back 30-minute sessions. I don't mean together. We'd go together. We'd make the trip together, but actually seeing each other's dicks? Nah, I'm good. And so was Woods. And I'm not gonna lie, this girl's prices were pretty good compared to some of the other escorts on the site. We had the opportunity to get away with it without anyone knowing at home. Prices were pretty decent, and if we went through with it, the story would be an all-timer. The stars were just aligning, man. I truly do believe this was meant to happen, but we knew it wasn't going to happen unless we hit her up. This is where it went from bad to worse in terms of anxiety. Because how you hit up the majority of escorts on escort sites is they provide a number and then you have to text them. And both of us were terrified to do this. Why? Because if this was a sting, they've got our numbers, and now we can't run. So in a way, we felt like we were digging our own grave by doing this. But if we don't do it, this shit ain't gonna happen. The things guys will do for some coochie. So I figured, all right, you know what? This was my idea. If someone's gotta take the fall, if someone's gotta take the initial blow, it's gonna be me. So being the noble knight in shining armor I was, I took the lead and I hit her up. And oh my god, Woods and I were sitting here in a pool of nerves waiting for who we are going to refer to in this video as Paige to respond. And what do you know? After about 3 minutes of waiting, my phone buzzes and...
Paige here.
Now it's real. Now there is no going back. We've hit this girl up and she responded with hello. Oh god. While Xavier Woods and I were internally dying, the rest of the group chat was dying of laughter. This was hilarious to them. Not so much for us. She asked me how I was doing and I lied and I said I was doing great. In reality, I wanted to throw up. I asked her about her rates and if they were what they said they were on the sites, and it turns out it was true. What I was not prepared for was what she said next. She told me that her services were excellent and that she offers the full GFE, which in escort terms means girlfriend experience. And I was just thinking to myself, hell yeah, that sounds good. And she followed that up with, I do not see black men. And Woods and I and the rest of the group chat were just like, what the fuck? Why? Is she just not attracted? Did something happen with the black guy that like traumatized her? Or is she just fucking racist? Like, what the fuck? I didn't ask. I didn't make a big deal about it, but I was kind of thrown off when she said that. Now, I'm white. I'm not affected by this at all, so I was chilling. However, Xavier Woods happens to be Asian. So he was out here sweating like a pig, thinking that she's racist, thinking, oh God, I'm fucked. And he was all up in my ear like, yo, Maddox, make sure she's good with Asian dudes, you feel me? So I asked her, I'm like, hey, you down with Asian guys? And she says, perfecto. If she had said no, I wouldn't have gone. Even our two black friends in the chat were like, fucking do it anyways. So it looked like Woods and I were in the clear and we had no roadblocks. We booked back-to-back 30-minute sessions with Paige, and the date was set. When I tell you, I couldn't really describe how I felt afterwards. Like, neither of us could believe what just fucking happened. We just texted a goddamn escort. What the fuck are we doing? How did this fucking come to fruition? How do we actually go through with this shit? This all stemmed from me jokingly posting a picture of an escort in the Discord chat. How the fuck are we here? Literally, all that was left for us to do was just fucking worry now. This is the definition, the literal definition of, I don't know how the hell we ended up in this scenario, but we're gonna go through with it anyways. Seriously, last minute jitters were coming out like a bitch. We were pondering about every goddamn thing that could possibly go wrong. We were overly pessimistic, but how could you fucking not be in this scenario? As fucked up as it is, what actually made us feel kind of safe is the fact that she said no black dudes. Cause what fucking sting operation is gonna be like, yeah, no black dudes allowed? No, they're gonna try to bust everybody. But it did not take away from the anxiety of the fact that this is the first time not only only are we having sex, but the first time we've ever met a goddamn hooker. And there's still no, like, real confirmation that she's actually legit. Like, we had to fucking panic. Oh, God, it was just a whirlwind of emotions. And neither of us were weathering it well. We were both low-key folding. Like, I knew once the moment arrived, we were both gonna, like, shit our pants, but here we were, and it was like, oh, God, it was bad. But we were forcing ourselves to go through with it. You either force yourself to change, you force yourself to grow, or you stay average forever. We did not lose sight on why we originally embarked on this mission. We refused to let the heat of the moment get to us. We stayed strong like a couple of kings, and we persevered. We knew if we got in and we got out successfully, this day was gonna change our lives. But like I said, we were not weathering this well. We now started to worry about how we were going to get in the hotel without looking sus. A couple of guys in their early 20s, not even checking in at the front desk, kind of looking dazed, kind of looking nervous. We never really took into account that hotel workers, as long as you aren't making a ruckus, probably don't really even give a shit. But it was last minute jitters. It was pessimistic thoughts. Oh, God. We were folding like an accordion. That night before the big day, man, I was just staring at the ceiling as I laid in bed. All I could think about was, you know what, man? This might be my last night in bed. The next time I sleep, I might be in jail. In a cold, hard cell, in an uncomfortable bed. Xavier Woods and I literally just texted all night long. We tried to lighten the mood, being like, hey, maybe this is our last sleep as virgins, if we could get to sleep. But it was like 2 a.m, and I was trying to get a good night's sleep, but I just could not fucking sleep. We absolutely abused the Homelander deep breath nervous gif, to the point where if I see it now, I just think of that day. It's synonymous now. But Jesus Christ, I've never seen a gif that perfectly described our situation like that. The way he takes a deep ass breath, and then he looks behind himself, and then he kind of looks all around like he's nervous about getting caught for something. And then he kind of just stands there and shakes his head in disbelief like, what the fuck is happening right now? It was literally us. That is our GIF. I'm claiming it right now. That is property of Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods, okay? It literally belongs to us now. So believe it or not, I was actually able to get some sleep that night. And when I woke up, dude, I had a pit in my stomach, and I had to take a fat fucking shit. I poop when I'm nervous, okay? And believe me when I tell you that was not the last poop I took before it happened. While I was on the toilet, I sent a video to Woods with my hands shaking, being like, dude, I'm literally losing it right now. And he told me he was doing the exact same thing. I hopped in the shower and I washed things that I didn't even know was fucking there. When I tell you, I showered like I ain't never showered before, bro. And I shaved everything. Anything that you can think of that has hair on it, I shaved, except for my head. And not all areas I fully shaved, some I just trimmed, but you get the idea. There was some serious deforestation going on. I brushed my teeth, I lathered a shit ton of deodorant on myself, and before I knew it, I was on my way. The entire time I was at the ATM machine, I felt like there was people watching me. I was looking around waiting for the cops to follow me. I was paranoid as fuck. As I sat there counting the money, I just felt sick. I was just there like, oh my God, I'm really about to blow this much money on fucking pussy, man. And again, her prices for 30 minutes were pretty decent compared to some of the other escorts on the site, but she wasn't cheap either. It wasn't like a, oh, I'll blow your dick for 50 bucks type of thing. Nah, she was a decent amount of money. But Xavier Woods and I were talking about it, and we were both like, hey, if there's ever a time to blow this much cash on pussy, it's our first time. If we're actually going to be down bad enough to pay for it, we're going to pay for a goddamn great experience. So even though we were going to lose a pretty good chunk of change, I feel like we both went into it with the right mindset. This is a day that's going to be etched in our personal histories for the rest of our lives. Don't cheap out. So the plan was that I was going to go pick up Xavier Woods at college. I was going to get there right in between his first and second class, and he was going to blow off his second class to go do this. And I shit you not, right as I pull up to the parking lot of the college, I just so happen to pull into the parking lot that he's standing in. And the two of us just kind of stand still there for about 30 seconds, and we just stare at each other. We legit have not met in person since that AW show years ago. And here we are, in a college parking lot, preparing to go bang a hookie. The second he gets in my car, we just stare at each other and we're like, what the fuck is happening? We're here. You're here. You're in my fucking car. We're actually doing this shit. I literally almost got into like 5 car accidents on the way there because I was just so goddamn nervous. Xavier Woods is in my goddamn car. We're doing it. It's not just talk. We're not just joking around here. The two of us are going to her now. Well, not now. The first thing we had to do was we had to make a condom run. We didn't know if she was going to be providing condoms or not, so we figured, you know what, we better be safe than sorry. The reason we didn't ask her about this is because if we text her about condoms, we are dead meat if this is a sting. Asking if she provides condoms literally just gives away our intentions of having sex. This was another thing we learned in our research, is that you should not be explicit when talking with an escort over text. We have technically done nothing on paper that says we are going to fuck. All I asked about were her rates, if she likes Asian guys, and if we could book an appointment. That's it. So theoretically, if we did get caught by the cops, they couldn't charge us for prostitution because there's no proof of it. So Xavier Woods and I scurry our way into CVS and we look for the condom aisle. And of fucking course, right as we start browsing, a female employee comes by the aisle and she starts stalking. She's not restocking the condoms, but she's on the other side of the aisle. But granted, she's still in the aisle. You have to keep in mind, Xavier Woods and I were completely fucking clueless. We don't know what condoms fit us. We don't know which brand we want or what kind we want. So we're just standing there like a couple deer in headlights, having no clue what we're doing. And the female employee was there for all of it. God, that was so cringe. And then we literally get into the movie stereotype moment where we have to get in line and we have to go pay for these condoms with a human. And it's just fucking embarrassing to do. I don't give a shit how old you are. It's still awkward. But I'm telling you, man, God was with us that day, because right as we were about to go and check out, 2 self-checkout machines opened up. And we skirted over there like a couple of fucking NASCAR racing cars, fucking... And we rang those fucking rubbers up as fast as we could. And then we got out of there. Shit's always gonna be weird, man. I don't care how old you are. So here we are, sitting in the CVS parking lot in my car, and I hit Paige up and say, hey, we're ready to come. No pun intended. Drop the addy, girl. And she responds really quick and just asks me real quick, hey, how old are you? And I tell her I'm 23. And I tell her that Xavier Woods is 21. And I'm not kidding. We didn't even have to prove to her. We didn't have to send her ID or anything. She just took her word for it. And the two of us are just in my car, like jumping up and down, like, yeah. We weren't lying. We really were 23 and 21, but I couldn't believe we didn't have to like send her any shit. Again, another green flag, because obviously the cops are going to want all your info. Then she drops the address and she tells us to come in through the front discreetly and to knock on the door of her room. Bruh, I literally wanted to have a heart attack. I could not believe we are this close to pussy. The drive there was actually very quiet. I don't think Woods and I really had much to say. We were both just kind of in our own heads. At this point, I was literally asking God for signs, man. Like, literally give us a sign that this is what we are meant to do. And Woods actually did tell me that I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez was blasting in his Uber car this morning. So maybe that was an omen. When we pulled into the parking lot of the hotel, there was a Chick-fil-A in that exact same parking lot. We were like, holy shit, we could celebrate with the chicken sandwich after. But before we get that far, I gotta take a shit again. So I left Xavier Woods with the keys of my car and I headed into Chick-fil-A to go take a shit. At this point, barely anything is coming out. It's basically like the shit version of dry heaves. It was just out of nerves. We were about 20 minutes early, so we kind of had some time to kill. And by time to kill, I mean time to worry. The boys in the group chat were with us in spirit through Discord. Xavier Woods was basically giving them the play-by-play commentary of what's happening while I gave the color commentary. They were basically our outlet to vent our anxiety to. It got so bad that Xavier Woods and I looped the building like 5 times to make sure that there weren't any cop cars. We made an agreement beforehand that if we even saw one cop car, we're ditching. The coast looked like it was clear, but it didn't stop us from going to park elsewhere. We wanted to be as incognito as possible, and incognito we were. Remember when I said I was asking God for signs? This is when I found the big one. So basically where Woods and I ended up parking was this parking lot to a building that was right next door to the hotel. When we drove into this parking lot, we were presented with a building that says... Sorry, I have to bleep that because if I actually say the name of the building, it might actually reveal where we were. But believe me when I tell you that the name of this building was just a little too perfect in relation to what we were doing. And it even had a green light underneath it. This was our sign. We knew this was it. At this point, we were just sitting in the parking lot in my car doing last minute preparations. Now, like I said earlier, because this whole thing was my idea, because I looped us into this whole thing, Woods immediately was like, yeah, you know you're going first, right? So the time had arrived and it was time for me to go first. I decided that in case it was a robbery, I'm going to leave my wallet in the car and just take the money with me. I did, however, take my phone so then I could let Woods know if she was real. I didn't want the guy to suffer for a half hour while I got some pussy and he's wondering if she's still real, so I'm like, all right, I'll take my phone. I grabbed my ultra-thin condom. We gave each other a goodbye hug in case I didn't see the other side. I shut the door. I turned around and I headed for the hotel. I sent her one last picture of the front of the hotel to confirm that I was here, and she told me to come on up. My life is about to change. I'm fully aware that no matter if I meet a prostitute or a cop or even a fucking robber or even a murderer, my life is about to be altered either way. It is an indescribable feeling. When I get in there, I walk past the front desk and oh my God, I wanted to literally die. I had envisioned this moment so many times in my head. Good and bad outcomes. We even toyed with the idea of pretending to be a gay couple to believably get in there. But I was on my own, risking it all for the pussy. And thank fucking God, the woman who was working at the front desk didn't give a single shit. She glanced at me for a total of 0.5 seconds and went right back to whatever the fuck she was doing on her computer. I got into this weird little hallway that connected to a longer hallway, and oh my God, task number 1 complete. I got past the front desk. I kept on walking until I hit the very end of the hallway. I looked to my right, and oh my God, there's the room. And in my head, I'm like, it kind of checks out. It's the furthest room away from the front desk. You don't want them hearing any noises, you know what I'm saying? It just made sense. And it was even close to a back door exit. I made it this far. I'm not backing out now. I swallowed my pride. I took a deep breath and I knocked on the door. It felt as if every single emotion that I had felt leading up to this had just vanished for a moment. A decision had been made. No matter what's about to happen, there's no going back now. That door is about to open. I accepted my fate. As I watched the doorknob turn, the door slowly began to creak open. My heart was pounding. Out from the shadows comes this absolutely gorgeous Latina woman. And she immediately says, "Hi, how's it going?" And she brings me in, she grabs my hand, and she's very nice. She goes to put her phone down on the little table in the hotel room, and she immediately gives me a kiss. It was at that very moment where I went, holy shit. This is real. This is no decoy. This is no setup. She just smooched me. And I was straight up honest with her. I'm like, listen, this is my first time I've ever gotten an escort. I was scared shitless. And she just started laughing. She's like, that's totally fine. I totally get it. And I ask her real quick. I'm like, hey, listen, can I just text my friend real quick and let him know that you're real? And now she starts dying laughing. She's like, yes, absolutely. Man, and I whip out my phone fast as shit. And I'm like, Woods, she's real. Paige is real. When I tell you Woods lost his mind, and he alerted all the boys that it is on, but he was still nervous, mainly because that was the last thing that I said before, I got to it. So I put my phone down, and at that point, I'm just in the moment. And the first thing that I noticed was that she was actually a brunette and not a blonde. And I asked her, wait a minute, weren't you blonde in the pictures? And she said, yeah, those pictures were taken 2 months ago. They're slightly outdated, and she usually goes back to brunette in the colder months. And this is something apparently you gotta look out for with escorts, is a lot of times they're bait and switch. They'll post pictures on the website, but then when you go to meet them, they're like an entirely different girl. And although it was kind of hard to tell with Paige because her face was blurred on the website, it was still very clearly her. She was a very tall, very sexy Brazilian woman. It's definitely what I signed up for. Boy, I whipped that cash right out of my pocket. I counted it out for her, and I placed it down on the desk. The second all that money hit the table, she puts on a big smile and walks right over to me. I told her right away that I was a virgin and I was pretty nervous about all this, and she told me I had nothing to worry about. And that immediately put me at ease. It made me feel like I could actually sit back and enjoy the experience. That woman walked right up to me and started making the fuck out with me. I started kissing her neck. She started kissing mine. Oh boy. It got spicy pretty quick. She turned around and started dancing on my wee-wee. It was exactly like what you see when you go to the strip club in GTA, or if you invite a stripper over. It was literally that. And I instantly popped a stiffy. I put the great one to shame. I was so solid.
Easy, big fella.
Fuck rock hard. I was solid steel at that point. I think the dance literally had to end because of it. Bro, she turned around And when I tell you she ripped her fucking clothes off, like that. It was so fast. I didn't have time to process or digest it. It just fucking happened. My guy. I had seen it so many times on the hub, but I swear to you, there is nothing that prepares you for seeing a naked woman in the flesh. Seeing a pair of boobies bounce in front of you is an unreal feeling. They are just as special, just as beautiful, just as magnificent as I imagined. I was on my fucking John Moxley shit at that point, mastering those titties left and right, baby. He would have been proud. It's just the cycle of life, man. We pop out of the womb sucking titties, and somewhere along the way, we just decide that it's not cool anymore, only to grow up and realize, you know what? Maybe we were onto something when we were babies. Titties are kind of fire.
So scandalous.
That's all that was going through my head while this was going on. I'm playing GTA in real life right now. What is going on? She told me to hop up on that bed. So then I ripped my clothes off. Before she hopped up with me, she walked over to her bag. A part of me was like, oh, okay, this is where I die. This is where she pulls out the gun. Instead, she walks over to me with something in her mouth. She seductively crawls on top of me on some demon Finn Balor shit. And she proceeds to roll a condom on me with her mouth, and it seamlessly transitioned into the blowjob. This girl was skilled. She knew exactly what she was doing. I was on cloud 9. I couldn't believe this was actually happening. She started off nice and slow, and then she started picking up the pace, and then she started going deep. Oh, I had to let it out. I know we're in a hotel. I know we have to be relatively quiet, but I couldn't help it. She scooches her way up onto my chest. She grabs my Johnson and she hopped on that shit like a pogo stick. It was overstimulation. I have a woman on top of my wiener. Her jugs are jiggling around in my face. I got 2 handfuls of cake. And okay, this is gonna sound weird, but the lights in the room were off, but the TV was on. And it created like the perfect sexual lighting, I guess. The sensual vibe was there, man. Boy, yo, 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 yoing, type beat. And man, was she talking dirty. Shit was hot. I hit it from the side. I hit it from the back. I did missionary. Shit was a sex buffet. That's really what it was. I was just trying shit. And honestly, looking back on it, that's probably the biggest pro about losing your virginity to an escort. There's no real pressure to perform well. You don't have to worry about anything. But most importantly, you really learn a lot about yourself. When you hire an escort, you're basically in a position where you're able to kind of just experiment. You can throw shit at the wall to see if it sticks. So then you'll know what sticks for you. And then whenever you go to have sex with somebody, you know, in the real world, you can take that with you. So it's kind of good insight into learning more about what you actually like. The only thing I didn't try was I didn't go in the back door. And I did ask her, I'm like, hey, could I try going in the back door? And she was all like, no, sorry, I don't do that. And when she said that, I moved on real quick. I said, okay, that's fine. Don't be pushy with escorts, fellas. But guys, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be all the way real with everyone watching right now. I couldn't come. Believe me when I say I am just as shocked as you are right now when I found out that I couldn't fucking come. And the reason I couldn't come is because of the condom. Now, I am a supporter of the condom. Even if she let me hit raw, I would have gone in with a condom. You really think I'm about to bang a prostitute raw? Hell nah! I borderline walked in there with Dean Ambrose's fucking gas mask. Who fucking knows what she's got? I can't even imagine how many dudes have been inside of those sugar walls. And God knows how many finished in there. I was wearing a rubber no matter what, but I didn't expect it to handicap me that fucking bad. There were points when I was going at it where I literally started going ham. I was getting mad at myself for not being able to finish. And what made it even worse was Paige moaning,
Give to mommy, give. Come for mommy. Come, daddy. Come, daddy.
and I couldn't. The more frustrated I got, the harder I fucked her. There was a point where I was pumping so fucking ferociously in cowgirl. The fucking headboard was like boom, 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 boom. And I thought we were gonna get caught, all on top of it being a creaky bed. So it was more like boom, 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 boom. And that's not even mentioning her moaning on top of it. So it was really like
Come, daddy. Come, daddy.
boom. All because of her strawberry flavored condom. Literally, no matter what I did, I could not come. So I knew it had to be done. I had to fake a giant nut. And I did just that. But honestly, in the moment, I wasn't that mad. Sure, I was a little frustrated that I couldn't finish, but I felt like a god. I felt like Johnny Sins lasting 15-20 minutes for my first time, and I could have kept going if the time didn't run out. All you hear about is, oh, you're not gonna last more than 2 minutes your first time. So even though I couldn't complete the mission, I felt like a fucking sex god lasting that long. And I was gassed. My chest and abs hurt from pumping so hard. I was cherry red and sweating like a pig. Thank God I wore a shit ton of deodorant. Paige told me to go throw my condom away in the bathroom and flush it down the toilet. And when I checked inside the condom, there actually was a little pre-cum at the tip. But god damn it, man. I was expecting a Cody Rhodes pyro level explosion. In reality, it was just one of those little handheld sparklers on 4th of July. But I carried on, I threw my condom away, and I came back out to the hotel room. While Paige and I got dressed, we actually had a very nice conversation. She asked about where I was from and what I did for a living, and we kind of just shot the shit for a little bit. She actually brought her little chihuahua with her, so he basically watched me fuck his mom. Sorry, buddy. Which actually led to us talking about our dogs. And it was weird, I was just hitting it off with an escort. Because let's be real here, in our own minds, I feel like we all kind of imagine escorts and hookers to kind of just be like these dirty people. And maybe I just got a strike of luck, but I found a really good one. If there's ever a time you're gonna objectify a woman without trying, it's when you're scrolling through prostitute sites and you say, damn, she's hot. I mean, they quite literally sell their own bodies for a living, so it's hard not to see them as an object from a distance. But having Paige be so personable and so nice and us having like a genuine conversation afterwards, it kind of humanized her a little bit to me, and it made me realize that, you know, what they do might be unconventional, but they're humans too. She told me that she was a college student and this was helping her get through it financially. Which honestly, respect. If you're like us and you live in America, Jesus Christ, man, it's so expensive. You do what you gotta do to afford it. And even though she wasn't as expensive as some of the other escorts on the site, she must make a fortune off this shit. She wasn't a clock watcher, she made me feel comfortable, and goddamn was that a great time. So I grabbed all my things, I thanked her again for a really great time and for a really great experience, and I made her know, I'm like, listen, you're gonna forget who I am, I will never forget you. She laughed and walked me to the door, and right before I left, she gave me a nice big kiss, and right as I walked out that door, she gave me a little spank on the ass and sent me on my way. What a woman. I quietly made my way to the back door exit, went out the door, and walked my way over to the parking lot where Xavier Woods was waiting. And he was still nervous as shit because the last thing I said to him was that she's real. And apparently we did go a little bit long, but hey, we got into a nice little conversation. What can you do? But it's because we went long that Xavier Woods started raising his suspicions. I went back and looked at his chat with the boys during my little session. He was like, shit, maybe Maddox got caught. But the second I returned to the car, he starts jumping with excitement. He's like, holy shit, you did it. You're damn right I did. I told him I lasted long. I told him that she was nice, and I told him, you are talking to a man now. Go get some Woods. When I tell you that Xavier Woods was even more nervous than me, he started folding when he got into the hotel. He was frantically texting me saying, where the fuck is the room? And no matter how many times I went into detail, he still kept getting lost. All of us in the chat were literally dying, and we were like, oh my god, this dude's literally the Weeknd looking for the pussy. But eventually he found the room, and he's like, do you want me to just knock? And I'm like, yes, she'll give you a kiss. And the rest is history. 30 minutes go by, Woods comes out, and he looks just as amazed as me. It was time for a post-fuck celebration. I drove into Chick-fil-A, we went through the drive-thru, and we got our chicken sandwiches and hit the road. On the way back, we were critiquing this shit Dave Meltzer style. It was a great time. It was a great time. It would have been better if Kenny Omega was involved, but it was a great time. I'd give it 6 stars. I think the fuck was a really good time. Yeah. Apparently Johnny had to call an audible when he couldn't come, but it didn't ruin the match. It was still really good. Yeah. It wasn't a squash match. You know, it went a good 15 minutes, so he has good endurance. I'll give him that. And it was an Iron Man classic. You know what I mean? It lasted a long time. You know, nothing to take away from Johnny. You know, he's such a great. He's a great performer. He's a great athlete. Same with Paige, and so with Xavier Woods. You know, but especially Johnny. You know, he's such a great athlete. You know, he lasted so long. Thank you, Dave Meltzer. But yeah, Woods was like, listen, when I get a girlfriend, she's going on the pill, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I honestly couldn't argue. If anything, this literally proved to me that I'm never cheating. I know what's on the other side of the fence, and it ain't that special. Just find one girl, man, stay loyal to her, and fuck raw forever. But even though both Woods and I ran into performance issues, it ultimately didn't matter. We did it. We fucking did it. We lost our fucking virginities. And even though both Woods and I wanted to lose our virginities in a conventional way, if we had to lose it in an unconventional way, we did it in the most epic way possible. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't not memorable. Dude, we're gonna be telling this story till the day that we die. Two dudes who met online went on a suicide mission to go lose their virginities to an escort. And not only did they succeed, not only did they do it without getting caught, but they celebrated with Chick-fil-A after. Hey, yo, Chick-fil-A. How about you sponsor us? Come on now. I will literally never forget the two of us cruising down the highway in my car. Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches in our mouths with our heads out the window, and we screamed at the top of our fucking lungs. We must have looked like absolute fucking morons, but we didn't care. I dropped off Xavier Woods at home, I took off, and I made it home in time just to take a shower. And even after I took a shower, I smelled Paige on my hands. Her perfume was strong as hell. I'll never forget after that shower, just laying in my bed trying to figure out what just happened. The fact that we actually went through with that shit, the fact that we actually lost our virginities. It didn't register with me. I'm not a virgin anymore. Even if I wanted to be. I had sex with the woman. And good God, was it a gorgeous woman. I slept like a baby that night. That was the best night's sleep I had gotten in so long. Man, what a day. I am never forgetting that shit until the day that I die. So that's it. That's how I lost my virginity, folks. So do I regret doing this? I actually don't. Like I said, both Woods and I wanted to lose our virginities in a conventional way, but we both looked at the situation for what it is, and we both agreed that honestly, dude, we just gotta break the mold at this point. We were so late into the game and with zero experience that at that point, it was probably a good idea. Now, I can't speak for Woods, but for me, this event helped me a lot. I stopped worrying so much about when I'm gonna lose my virginity and who I'm going to lose it to. It made me a lot more confident around girls. And I'm not in my own head anymore when I talk to them. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing catch up anymore. I have now been there. I have quite literally done that. So now I feel like I'm not rushing anymore. I'm not worrying about when it's gonna happen, because it did happen. Now I feel like time is of abundance. I can now take my time and wait for the right girl. So do I recommend doing this? It depends. I think it all really depends on where you are in your life. If you're like 16, 17 in high school, Jesus Christ, the fact that you're even watching this video right now makes me severely uncomfortable. Seriously, let's pretend you didn't watch this, okay? Let's pretend everything I said was a giant lie and let's just forget you're here. But for real though, if you are 16, 17, don't fucking do this. You're just too young. Fucking do it the real way in high school, man, or at least try. And from a legal standpoint, escorts could get in serious trouble if they gave you services. Hell, they could have gotten legal trouble for giving me services. But at least I was of age. What escorts and prostitutes do may be out there, it may be unconventional, but at the end of the day, man, they're just trying to make a living like everyone else. They're not trying to make it on the next episode of Chris Hansen. So if you're under 18, leave escorts alone, okay? This is big boy shit. So please, for the sake of everyone involved, stay the fuck out of it. Seriously, I feel like the bad influence uncle right now. Go away! But hey, if you're over 18, it might be right for you. If the idea of being an older virgin really bothers you like it bothered me, I'm here to tell you right now, this definitely helps. But if you're gonna do it, again, do it the right way. Look up her phone number. Look at reviews. If neither of those things pop up, it's not worth it, bro. And if anything does go wrong, just know that Johnny fucking Moxley is not liable for your actions. Take all of this with an entire shaker's worth of salt, okay? As a matter of fact, take the entirety of Salt of the Earth on some MJF shit. But honestly though, if you do go about it the right way, you'll be fine. I'm still here, I'm fine, and I think you will be too. So that's it. That is all for me, ladies and gentlemen. This has been your boy, Johnny fucking Moxley, and I am out. Before I leave, I should probably bury Xavier Woods and let you all know that he also couldn't come either. I'm not going down alone.